The SEC just filed another motion to the judge talking about how they're objecting to what Ripple is doing. I'm going to tell you what they did, but in this video, I'm really going to be talking about some coins that, just like XRP, are undervalued. So I'm going to be discussing what's actually keeping them down and what could actually trigger them to go on a bull run of their own. But in other Ripple news, a former client of Ripple's is now using a competitor, XLM, Stellar, and they just signed a deal with Stellar. So I'm going to tell you all about it, why they did it, what the rumors are, and why Moneygram didn't exactly get out of the shadow of the SEC. And also, Coinbase just announced 4 new additions. No, it's not XRP, not yet, but they announced 4 new additions to Coinbase Pro. I'm going to tell you what those 4 coins are, how much they actually went up as soon as they were listed, and what they actually do. Hey everyone, my name is Randy, and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel, we're covering the Ripple versus SEC case, along with other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any of those topics interest you and you want to follow along, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification icon. That way YouTube will notify you when I release a new video. And if you're feeling really generous today, I'd appreciate it if you do 2 things. Number 1, smash that thumbs up button. And number 2, watch this video all the way to the end. Those are the 2 best things that you can do to support a YouTube channel. And before we get into it, I did want to actually mention something because it's getting to be about that time. When I go through the comments section of my videos, as many of you have noticed, there are all kinds of scammer links and replies to all the comments that say pinned by Late Night Grind or Late Night Grind, and it's some sort of canned response along with a WhatsApp phone number. Obviously, those are scammers, those are spammers, and not just myself. I see these on all of the pretty much any financial videos, especially cryptocurrency videos. And if you see any of those, just ignore them. Obviously, they're all scams. They wouldn't keep doing it if it wasn't working for some reason, but just a reminder, stay away from them. What I do is I go in and I remove those users. I block those users from my channel. So at the very least, it makes the scammers have to create more and more accounts every day. I don't know if it does anything, but in any case, just keep that in mind. I would never tell you to contact me through a WhatsApp phone number or anything of the such. If you want to have a conversation with me, you can just do it through the comment section or follow me on Twitter. Now we can get into it. And I'm going to start off with the real brief news that just came out earlier today, that the SEC filed a motion to Judge Netburn. Basically what they did was Ripple, in defense of their motion to dismiss the case against Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larsen, they referenced a few cases and how they were actually relevant to the Ripple versus the SEC case, and essentially why Brad and Chris's case against the SEC should be dismissed. Well, the SEC came back and said, well, those cases aren't relevant, and they explained why. That's about all that happened. Nothing big. And before I talk about Ripple's former client, I wanted to talk about a coin right now that, in my opinion, and several others, that is extremely undervalued. And no, it's not just XRP. I believe XRP is undervalued, but I think we all know why. ADA, Cardano, in my opinion, is probably one of the most undervalued projects or currencies, at least in the top 50 anyway, that is just not seeing the price action that it probably should. Now, I actually read a report by GRAYSCALE, who they actually have a GRAYSCALE trust, which they have Cardano listed, along with they have a GRAYSCALE Bitcoin trust and a couple of others. And basically their report was that they feel Cardano is undervalued because of a couple of different things. The report pointed to the number of monthly active users, transaction value on a monthly basis, and a few other things, and basically came out and said Cardano's monthly active user market value is about $30,000 per active user, whereas Ethereum, theirs is about $50,000 to $55,000 per active user. So it has nothing to do with the amount, but simply the value per active user. So in GRAYSCALE's eyes, Cardano right now is just undervalued. GRAYSCALE also said that it believes it's undervalued because of the growth that Cardano has had in the past 12 months versus some of its price action and market value just hasn't kept up with Cardano's actual growth. So it's something to keep an eye on, not just for this market cycle. I think you want to keep an eye out for this market cycle, but in my opinion, as GRAYSCALE pointed out, Cardano still has a long ways to go before it actually reaches the likes of its competitors like Ethereum. So as Bitcoin and the rest of this market cycle finishes up over the winter, into next spring, whenever that's going to be, it's going to enter into a bear market. That's when you're going to want to pick out your low price points. As everything kind of hits that bear market and comes crashing down, that's when you're going to want to look at projects like Cardano, because in a couple of years, when they've had a chance to build out a bigger ecosystem and there's more and more projects on it, especially DeFi projects on it, when it goes into that next cycle, that could be the catalyst for some of the biggest returns on investment in the crypto space. But even as of right now, at least according to what GRAYSCALE's reports are showing, Cardano should be nearly double the market value of what it is right now, meaning it should be between a $4 and a $5 price point, whereas right now it's sitting at about $2.30. It was up near $3 earlier, but $2.30 what it's at right now. Speaking of other undervalued coins, I'm going to talk about XRP and Ripple a little bit. Now, there was news that just came out the other day that one of their former big clients, Moneygram, that actually left Ripple over the summer, has now just signed with one of their competitors, Stellar, XLM. Now, what is Stellar? They are basically a copycat version of XRP. They kind of do the same thing, but it's not as built out, it's not as enterprise as XRP is. And I call it a copycat because the creator of Stellar XLM was Jed McCaleb. Who was Jed McCaleb? Well, he was one of the 3 co-creators of XRP back in 2009. So he kind of knows all the ins and outs, and that's why I call it a copycat. So the speculation was that MoneyGram didn't leave RippleNet and the ODL because of what anything XRP could or couldn't do, but more so because of the shadow that the SEC investigation was actually casting onto them and thus MoneyGram. So the rumor was that they left Ripple in the summer because of that, and of course they found Stellar, which basically does a similar thing, and so they signed with them. Now MoneyGram came out and said, no, had nothing to do with the SEC case. It was more because Stellar is built more for lower transactional value. They didn't say that, but you can kind of read between the lines. Basically saying it's more of a front-end technology that's going to be easier to bring on clients, rather than Ripple's is more focused on the back-end tech and is more built for enterprise. And I tend to agree with that. XRP is definitely built more for central banks, institutions, and just large quantities of money transfer. XLM, not so much. But here's the interesting thing. Whether or not it was because of the SEC that they wanted to get away from Ripple and move to something else, they didn't actually accomplish that, because XLM uses USDC as their liquidity token. Now, USDC is a stablecoin, kind of like Tether. Well, who's behind USDC? It's a cryptocurrency company called Circle. And guess what Circle's doing right now? Well, it was just found out that last month, Circle is under the investigation of the SEC. You can't even make this stuff up. Now, of course, Circle says, well, we're complying with everything, and really they're just want to make sure that we have the assets that we say we have. I'm sure this won't go anywhere. And so with that in mind, I'm going to talk about yet another company that's had its own run-ins with the SEC, that being Coinbase Pro. Now in this announcement, they're not announcing any more SEC investigations or issues with the SEC, but it's about 4 new tokens that they just added to Coinbase Pro. The interesting thing, these tokens are all Ethereum-based tokens, and I wanted to mention what they were and how much they actually jumped. So the first one is a governance token called FX, and basically that can power cross-chain DeFi services, and since it was listed, it jumped 177%. Another one was Jasmy, Jasmy, and basically what that's designed for is to create a decentralized IoT ecosystem, meaning the IoT being the Internet of Things, all devices that have little things in them that can connect to the internet, that will allow devices to actually send transaction data and transactions back and forth simply between 2 devices through a decentralized network. That one went up 129% as soon as it was listed on Coinbase Pro. And there are 2 others that were Ethereum based that also went up, but one only went up about 2%. And another one that actually sounds interesting is actually essentially pegged to the price of Bitcoin. So it's not exactly a stable coin, but it's a coin that's pegged to the price of Bitcoin. And it's a token that will be able to be used in the Ethereum network while representing the price of Bitcoin. That's kind of interesting. But nonetheless, that one shot up as well. So here's the thing I wanted to bring up. With those tokens actually shooting up on day 1 that they were listed on Coinbase Pro, I wanted to ask you guys a question, and I want you to comment down below your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen to the price of XRP the day they get relisted on Coinbase and Coinbase Pro? How about the day they get relisted on Kraken? How about the day they get relisted on Binance and Binance US? How about the day they get relisted on KuCoin? How about the day they get relisted on Crypto.com and OKCoin? Oh, and when they get relisted, they'll also have regulatory clarity. And they will no longer be under the price suppression of the SEC case, and you will have the knowledge that you watched these videos and you knew all of this was coming, and so you spent time looking into XRP and maybe you thought it would be wise to invest in some. So leave your comments and predictions down below what you think would actually happen to XRP if all those relistings actually happen based on some of the things that happened when they hit Coinbase Pro in just 1 day. I think it's going to be crazy. So there you go, guys. Please leave your comments down below what your predictions are, not just for XRP, but for Cardano. I think it could be a big one to watch in the coming years. But once again, a big thank you for watching all the way to the end of this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.